For more on this, we have Dr. Malcom Davis, Senior Analyst in Defence Strategy and Capability at Australian Strategic Policy Institute, who's joining us live from Canberra. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Thank you very much.
Right. So the deal expires in a few hours, or maybe a little more than that. But the point is, Russia has still not given a verdict. What's going through the mind of Putin? What is Russia up to? Are they hoping to use this as leverage to barter some kind of sanctions relaxations now that the ball is in their court for at least some time?
I think probably yes. I think that Putin knows that if he essentially pulls out of the grain deal and then reinstitutes the blockade of Ukraine's ports, that would create a huge global crisis that would actually undermine a key part of his support base in the global south, where a lot of this grain is going to provide food for large numbers of people. If that grain is not shipped, and you have suddenly a massive food crisis with starvation occurring in developing countries, a lot of his support breaks away. So I think probably the most likely scenario is that he will agree to keep the grain deal going at the last moment, but he's holding out for some sort of sign of concession from the West.
Right, sir, absolutely. Now we saw Ukraine, it's a big exporter of food grains. So when Russia did invade Ukraine, it of course compromised these exports as well. Now the question is, what would be the global impact on food security if Russia does not renew this deal?
Well, if it is a case that he doesn't renew the deal and then he imposes a blockade on Ukrainian ports, and basically no state is prepared to run that blockade for fear of a direct military clash with Russian forces, and I'm thinking here about Turkey, for example, then you would see over time food supplies, grain supplies dry up to the point whereby you then start to see food shortages in places such as Africa and the Middle East and elsewhere. And you then start to see starvation occurring. And I think at that point, the international community would have to step in and basically force the blockade, basically send in naval forces into the Black Sea to challenge the Russians directly. And that would be obviously an incredibly dangerous step, because it would bring about the possibility of a direct military clash between Russian forces and, for example, NATO forces.
So, next up, wanted to take this up. Now, Ukraine's markets have shifted dramatically from traditionally being centered in Asia and North Africa, which was before the war, to mainly Europe. And they've done this through the land route because of the problems that they were facing in the Black Sea. Now, it is a move which has also caused a lot of uproar in European farmers. So, question is, how much will it impact Ukraine if the deal is not extended?
Look, I think it would not impact Ukraine per se, in the sense that it's the Russians that would be not extending the deal, not the Ukrainians. So I think that what would happen in terms of Europe is that they would try to find other supply chains for grains and food supplies. But I think really it's not so much Europe that would be affected, it's North Africa, Central Africa, countries that rely on those grain supplies to go into Africa. Even though, as you say, they've shifted the focus to Europe, it's still an awful lot of people in Africa rely on those food supplies.
All right. Well, Dr. Malcom, thank you so much for joining us on the show with your insights on this.
Thank you very much.